right. We are getting into the podcast in a minute. I'm going to give a minute for a couple people to join in. And today we're talking about why you are training every day and you still suck. Really lighthearted topic, I know. But we're going to give it a minute, wait to see if we got some people joining in. It looks like we do. Instagram, appreciate all of you guys as you start coming in. Getting into the podcast in a minute, but as always, I hope you guys are all having an incredible day. Let me know how training's going for you, how life is, how your day is going, and you like the topic there, Rodrigo? Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one today. Why you are training every day and you still suck. How often to do calisthenics for boxing per week? Honestly, there's a lot to dig into with a topic like that. The big thing is balance when it comes to training. Like, you shouldn't just be focused on, one area and trying to do one area a lot. The focus should be balancing everything. So don't think just calisthenics, think where you're weakest in your game and then how you can actually improve upon the game, right? So just doing calisthenics isn't going to be the answer. It's going to be the conditioning work, the weights. The calisthenics are going to be a part of that for sure. Love your tips. Man, I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot. That's always why I put that kind of stuff out. I always love seeing that people are getting value from it. But guys, we're going to get into the show. And today we're talking about why you suck even though you're training every single day. So if you're having some training troubles, this is going to be a good one for you. So let's get going. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the number one show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we're talking about why you're training every day and you still suck. So we're going to get into a little bit of storytelling mode today. So something I see so often is athletes that get into fighting, and immediately as they get into the sport, their immediate thought is, how do I outwork everyone? Because that's very much the culture in a lot of gyms, is you got to be the hardest worker in the room. You got to be the first one in the gym, the last one out of the gym. And then as that continues to go, you continue to try to work harder, continue to try to do more, continue to try to stay in the gym for longer, be there for longer, do more while you're there. And then as the months start to go on, you're there 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you realize that your knees starting to ache a lot, your back doesn't quite feel right, and just your body starts to feel the wear and tear of all of those miles of road work, all of those hours of practice, beating your body down with every sparring partner every single week. And you start to realize that you're just not feeling like you're progressing the same way that you used to. And the reason this happens, and the reason that you're struggling with this, is your body's not built to take the same kind of impact that you're putting on it. You're trying to train every single day, and right now, especially being new, your body's only built to train 3 or 4 times a week. And so you're so focused on trying to outdo everyone that you're actually ruining yourself in the process. Now, before I go any further, I want to really make sure that I'm emphasizing, especially for anybody here live that just heard me say you're not built to train every day. This doesn't mean you're never built to train every day. And this doesn't mean you're not built to push your body to its limits. This doesn't mean that training hard is a bad thing. It means you need to focus on what you are actually able to do. Instead of focusing on trying to outdo everyone, instead of trying to focus on being the first one in the gym, the last one out of the gym, the one who does the most road work, the one who does the most sparring rounds, the one who's at the most practices, focus on making yourself better. Now, the reason that so many athletes struggle with doing that is because they see everybody else focused on trying to be the hardest worker in the room too. So you get caught up in it. It's the same thing. When you're in high school and a bunch of your friends start going to parties and drinking, what do you want to do? You want to start going to parties and drinking. Not because drinking's fucking cool, but because all your friends are doing it. You don't want to seem like you're the only one who doesn't want to do it. And so you continue to try to push yourself harder for that gratification of people looking at you as the quote unquote hardest worker in the room, without realizing that you're sacrificing your long-term health and your long-term ability that you say you love and that you say you want to compete in. So the reason that starts to break your body down is plain and simple, you are not built for this yet. You're not built for this yet because you haven't built up the resilience to be able to train for that many hours. The amount of people that I see that are 6 months into training and they're training like 20 sessions a week already, and then they're asking me why their knees and their back, what they can do for their knee pain and their back pain and their achy shoulders. Like, you can not fucking train 20 sessions a week. And the other area that a lot of athletes struggle with that is the mentality that more work equals better work. I need to be in the gym more because if I want to be a world champion, I need to put in more hours so that I can rise above the rest. But what is one very important factor in becoming a world champion that you're not addressing if you're training every single day despite feeling injured, feeling sore, feeling hurt, and feeling like you can't keep up the way you used to? The factor is a healthy body. That's what we forget about so often. People are so concentrated on the hours put in that they forget you can put in all the hours in the world. If you bust up both your shoulders and your knees a week before the fight because you put in too many hours and just broke the joints down, you're not going to perform well. Even if you put in more hours than your opponent, you're still not going to do well. So the first thing I need you to change, if this is you, if you're hearing what I'm saying here and you're like, man, I do that to myself. I try to push. I try to be, the hardest worker in the room, and I'm always comparing and trying to make sure that I'm doing more than everybody, pushing that extra mile more than everybody. The first thing you need to change is your mindset. If you're looking at one of your training partners and you're like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I do more than this guy. First off, you don't know what that guy's life looks like. Their job might not be as physical as yours. They might have a person in their life who's a massage therapist that can give them free treatments 3 times a week that you're not getting. You don't know what they're doing outside of the gym. They might have a better control of their nutrition than you do right now. And whatever area that they have that better control that you don't have is affecting their ability to train. So now they can train more than you, not because they're fucking tougher than you, but because they have these other resources that you don't have right now. Second, that person might just have been training longer than you. They might have more reps, and the more reps you get, the more resilient your body becomes. The more resilient your body becomes, the more you're able to train without succumbing to these same injuries or these same problems. So the first thing you need to do is stop comparing. The first thing you need to do is create the mindset within yourself that the one and only thing you are after when you are training to improve yourself in your sport is improving yourself in the sport. Doesn't matter what this guy's doing, doesn't matter what that guy's doing, doesn't matter how many hours of road work this fucking guy put in, doesn't matter how many hours this guy was in the gym, you are focused on you. And when I say you're focused on you, yes, you're focused on how hard you can push yourself, but more so than that, we got to go back to that magic ingredient that helps you succeed in the sport, a healthy body. So this doesn't mean that every hour you're in the gym needs to be balls to the wall. How fucking hard can you go without dying or throwing up? What it means is you need to learn to take care of your body. Yes, push yourself hard. Yes, find your limits. Yes, have those sessions where you feel like you're about to die or you feel like you're going to throw up. But also put just as much care into your recovery sessions, just as much care into your technical sessions that are focused on how you're moving, not just how many shots you can throw without throwing up. By balancing that and by mixing the focus between the harder sessions and the more technical, more relaxing sessions, relaxing might not even be the right word, but I hope you get what I'm saying. You're going to see better progress faster because your nervous system won't be fried all the fucking time. And your body's going to be able to recover because you're not burning it into the ground every single day. So as a result, every session that you go into, you're going to be more mentally present. And then if you're more mentally present in those sessions, you're going to get more out of them. And if you get more out of them, even if this guy, that guy, whoever worked harder than you, you're going to get a better result. And what matters isn't how hard you worked in the gym, it's the result you get from the hard work you do. If you put in more hours, but you hurt yourself because you're doing stupid shit, it doesn't matter that you put in more hours, you still hurt yourself and you're still not going to be able to perform when it actually matters, which is when you're fighting. So instead of focusing on the number of hours put in, focus on the results you're getting from the hours you're putting in. You need the skills to be improving. You need your power, your speed, your endurance, all of that stuff to be improving. And more than anything, and I cannot stress this enough, you need to be healthy when it comes to fight night. Because if you're not, you're giving yourself way less chance to succeed. I'm going to go through a couple of examples. And again, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not throwing a shot at any of these athletes because I think they're all studs in their own right. But Conor McGregor's last fight with Dustin Poirier, he steps back on his leg, snaps his leg, and then immediately after the fight, oh, I broke my leg in training camp. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe that was just like, some freak little thing and the leg broke, like there was a crack in the shin bone or whatever, and maybe that did have an effect on the fight. But maybe if when that happened, he had given himself a week to let it heal, maybe it would have healed up and it would have been fine. I don't know that for sure. That's speculation. I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm a doctor or any kind of shit. But if he had given himself the proper recovery instead of just continuing to grind hard through a crack in his shin bone, maybe he would have been able to heal up, and maybe that same step at that same angle doesn't break his shin. And then maybe, even though Dustin was beating him pretty badly in the first round, maybe he comes back and he wins that in the second round. Right? But instead, he continues to grind through, continues to push hard, continues to go as hard as possible all the time, breaks his leg again in the fight, makes it way worse, and obviously loses the fight as a result. TJ Dillashaw, when he fought Aljamain Sterling for the title when he came back. Oh, I saw somebody comment on the Instagram right as I said that, TJ's shoulder. But TJ Dillashaw, another perfect example. The dude, don't get me wrong, is a absolute workhorse. But when he dislocated his shoulder in that title fight, immediately he comes out and he goes, well, I dislocated 20 times during camp. And, I beat other guys with a bump shoulder, so I thought I could beat Aljo too. But maybe the first time that shoulder pops out, he actually gives it a few days and not just pop it back in and keep training. And maybe he's actually able to let it heal, and maybe he's actually able to get that win because his shoulder's in better shape and he didn't let it pop out 20 more times during training camp. But the focus was solely on the hours put in. I need to put in X amount of hours per day. I need to keep training no matter what. But the body's not healthy when it comes to fight night, and as a result, he loses the fight. So guys, the important thing you need to take away from this is on the mental side, the only thing on your mind can't be just how hard can I work. That is absolutely a crucial piece of the puzzle, but it can't be the only thing on your mind. If you have an injury, you need to rest that injury. Now, I'm not saying every bump and bruise, because obviously it's still fighting. You're going to get bumps and bruises. You're going to have to work through that. But if your shoulder pops out, call that session. It's going to be more beneficial for you to give your shoulder a couple of days to heal, see how it feels, and make sure that it's actually able to function than just jumping right back into the sparring session to show everybody how fucking badass and how fucking tough you are. And crazily enough, that is a controversial opinion amongst some people, which I do not understand. But the goal is not how many hours I can put in. The goal is performing on the night of the fight. So you need to take those things into account. So the mindset is the first thing that needs to change. It's going to stop being focused on trying to be better than everyone and start focusing on being better than you were yesterday. Start focusing on putting yourself in a better position to succeed on the night that you're actually going to be competing. And the second thing that needs to change is your intention and your direction. So a lot of athletes that I speak to, they talk about their strength and conditioning sessions, and they're talking about, they're doing this brutal conditioning work, and then their weight sessions are like 2 hours long, and they're doing 100 sets of this and 50 sets of that and 100 more sets of this. And guys, your goal should not be to burn yourself out before you go to sparring or before you go to a training session. One of the things I always keep true to with my athletes is after you do our session, you should still be able to train that day. So if we've pushed you so hard to the point where you've got to call it a night and you can't do anything after, we've pushed you too hard. Because the goal of everything you're doing is to succeed when it comes to fight night. And if you're getting so blasted from your strength and conditioning session because you're going so heavy or doing so many reps or doing so many different exercises and it's taking so long, You're not going to succeed on the night of the fight by killing yourself with every workout. You're just not. But if you're able to learn how to balance it, how to give yourself what you need instead of give yourself as much work as humanly possible without fucking dying every day, then your body's going to stay healthier for longer. You're not going to succumb to those injuries. You're not going to feel so burnt out that you're not able to perform when the actual day that matters comes around. And that is what you need to be focused on. So when you finish your strength and conditioning sessions, don't get me wrong, you should push hard. And don't get me wrong, we have athletes definitely that will feel sore for some skill sessions, but I'm never blasting them so hard that they have to call their skill sessions and they can't do them because of how sore they are from our workouts. Because the goal is continuous improvement over time, not murder every single day. So the intention behind your sessions need to change. You shouldn't be focused on getting the most badass hard workout that you can. You should be focused on giving yourself what you need to see the success you're looking for. So guys, I hope this all makes sense. I hope you learned a little something. I hope you got a little shift in perspective. If you did, I'd love to know what it was. Shoot me a message on any of my social media accounts. The ways you can do that will be in the show notes below. And as always, my biggest ask of you guys is if you got value from the show today, make sure you share it with a friend, share it with a teammate, share it with a coach, share it with somebody who's going to need to hear this message. I appreciate you all. You have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next episode. Of course, this is fun. I'm going to scroll through some of the comments, and I saw a couple